this is Miss Stacy, and I have been rendering some beef to make tallow. All year long, I will save my trimmings and my fat from my beef and put it in the freezer. And at the end of each year, I'll go through my freezer and get all that fat and put it up in the crock pot and add a little water, put it on low overnight, and render the fat. So this is one batch. I have another batch going on in here that we'll do. So this I had let set overnight so the fats can separate. And this is a bit of broth because my fat was attached to some meat as well. So I'm going to save this broth to make, in addition with some new broth, to make probably some French onion soup. So we're going to skim the fat off and put it in this jar here. So let's just do that. Okay. I think I will, I'm going to use this ladle and just take my spoon and gently skim off the top here. So you can see. And just put it in the jar. Now, I don't can it. I just leave it in the jar in the refrigerator and it'll stay good for a long time. If I wanted to can this, I could. I would heat it up, then pour it in hot and just put the lid on for it to seal. That's what I would do. And just keep on skimming. Try not to get any of that liquid that's under there. They sell on, of course, Amazon and other places, but they sell these fat separating devices that you could buy to make it easier. But I'm a little too cheap for that, so I just do this. And what I'll do is if there is any liquid that I accidentally got in, when I put it in the refrigerator, it'll harden up and separate even more. And then I can drain that liquid out. Just poke a hole in the fat and the liquid will drain right out from underneath it. So I rendered the fat, the same fat, twice. First, I put it in the crock pot with water overnight, and then I took that out, and it still had more fat on it, so I just did it again, the same process, and let that cook overnight again, and I have more right here, so we'll just get those fat pieces out. And I'm going to just feed it to my dogs because they like it. I know people don't want me feeding that to my dogs. Some people don't, but you know, I've had dogs for many, many years and they all live past 16, every single one of them. So, and they all die of old age. No issues. And I've always done this. When I make bone broth, the bones end up being so soft and brittle because I cook it for about 3 days. The bones it just turns to bone meal by then. It just crumbles in your hand. And I also give this to the dog. They love it. It's really good for them because it's a meal by then. Alright, I'm almost done doing this. And then, there we go. Put that aside. We're going to put that in the fridge. Okay. Look at that. A quart. It's a whole quart. Alright, let's put this lid on here. Alright. I have my second round of beef rendering in here from all night on low in the crock pot. And we're just going to drain it. And there's still some fat on here. There's still some good pieces of fat on there. I think I'm going to bake it. I'm going to bake these up and see what comes off. So, I'm going to just put this in the, my oven is broke, so I have to use a toaster oven. So I might just put this in the toaster oven on a baking sheet and then bake it and see what comes out of it, you know, the rest of it. So we shall do that. I've never done that before. You know, I should look it up. I wonder if that's just how you're supposed to do it. This is how I've always done it. Just put it in the crock pot in a bit of water. Alright. And then what we'll do is we'll just let this sit in here. The rest of this, just without the fat in here, sit in here and cool off, get cold, and so we can separate it easier like we did the first one. And then while that's going on, we'll put these fat pieces into my toaster oven. Alright. There we go. Alright. I think that's maybe good enough. Okay. Okie dokie. So we got all the leftover fat from rendering it all night in a little bit of water. And I noticed there's still some fat on there. So I want to bake it in my toaster oven. My regular oven is broken, so I have a big toaster oven I put it in. So we're going to put a baking sheet with foil right here. Line it real good with foil. Make sure it has a good lip on the side because you don't want grease going all over your oven. You know what I mean? So, there we go. Just line up this baking dish or whatever you have to render the rest of your fat. And then we're going to put it on. We're just going to spread it out. Just going to spread it out evenly. I'll show you when I'm done. I'll toss little pieces. Oops, my dogs are... I dropped a bunch of it. My dogs are eating it. I'll toss little pieces here and there to the dogs just because they're spoiled. Alright. All these lined up in this foil. I'm going to put it in my oven for about an hour on 400, and then we'll see in an hour how much fat we have. This is the toaster oven I use, and it works pretty good. I could fit a good size cookie sheet in there, and so I use that just until I can buy me an oven, which will probably be a while. So turn it on and wait and see what happens after that. Okie dokie. Here's the two dogs waiting on some fat. They're so spoiled. They smell what's going on and they're just waiting for some handouts. I got these bags of carrots sitting by these onions. The carrots were only $5. So we're going to have to think of something to do with all those carrots. And after we finish these onions up, towards the end of the onions, we'll probably do some pickling. Okie dokie. Well, we'll get back to you when the rest of my beef fat is rendered. Okay, so I finished with these little crackling things. I drained it all, and I think I'll just use this as dog treats. That looks pretty good. And then this is what came off of the rest. So it's darker because it cooked real good in the oven. And I'm keeping it separate in a reused jar because I save all my jars. We drink out of jelly jars, old jars, not canning jars. We drink out of reused jars. So these are like our drinking cups. But I also use them for, odds and ends like this. There's that, and then I should get another quart, or at least half a quart off of the second batch I have cooling down. So, this was processed 3 times. So one 24 hours, then I collected that oil. Then the second 24 hours, which is cooling down now, and then I baked this for an hour. So I think I got as much out of it as I can, huh? This first time I baked it, like I said earlier, I've always had tremendous amounts because my family was, bigger then. I had more kids at home, but now we're cooking less meat, so I don't have as much fat to render. But I still got quite a bit. Next we will be doing, I don't know either. How do I say goodbye? Okie dokie. Well, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye now.